Good day, everyone. We are here again in our lecture series on theories of crime causation. This time, we are going to discuss about the social process theories of crime causation. But before anything else, let us first begin with our Bible verse of the day. It says here in Proverbs chapter 30, "Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character." So it simply says that tell me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are. Bad friends, offenders, and criminals, they tend to affect us. And Proverbs chapter 22 verse 6, it says here, "Train up your child in a way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." So that our children, our youths, will never be persuaded to commit crimes, let us train them and insulate them from criminal friends, criminal offenders. Let us teach them the ways on how to prevent crimes by being not affected or influenced by criminal offenders. Let's start with the differential association theory by Edwin Sutherland. Edwin Sutherland has been considered as the father of American criminology. He theorized the differential association theory. Differential association from two words, differential, differ, and association. It simply says that we have different levels or intensity of association with offenders, and with the offenders, the amount of the degree, the intimacy with which we have with offenders affect us whether we commit crimes or not. What does Edwin Sutherland say in his book on criminology? It says that criminal behavior is learned. Criminals, people, all of us have the ability, have the capacity to learn criminal behavior. We are not just, according to him, we're not just pushed by things in the world, but we learn of the ways and techniques of committing crimes in the world. He continues that criminal behavior is learned in interaction with other persons. So we learn crimes with our interaction with criminal offenders. For example, if we have parents who are criminal offenders, we have relatives, we have friends, we have brothers and sisters who are criminal offenders, then this association, this interaction will tend to affect us in committing a crime. Next, the principal part of the learning of criminal behavior occurs within intimate personal groups. So just what I said earlier, the family, the friends, the intimate groups that we have, they tend to influence us in committing crimes. And what do we learn? What do people learn in these intimate relationships? They learn the techniques in committing crimes, and not only the techniques in committing crimes, but also the specific direction of motives, drives, rationalizations or justifications, and attitudes towards crime. So if we have friends or we have parents who are criminal offenders, we learn first the techniques in committing crimes. For example, in committing robbery, what are the techniques in committing robbery or theft? We learn these techniques: how to pickpocket, how to rob a person, how to use a gun in robbery. We can learn them from our intimate relationships who are criminal offenders. And we also learn the motives, the drives, the rationalization, the justification, or attitudes. So it's not only the techniques but our attitude towards crime, whether we are favorable or unfavorable towards crime. For example, if we have parents who espouse the commission of crimes, they are in favor of committing crimes like theft. Theft, for example, we learn that theft is good because we have parents who say that theft is good. We steal to help the poor, the Robin Hood mentality. That is the Robin Hood mentality, and that is the learning of the rationalization and attitudes towards crime. Next, the specific direction of motives, drives. They are learned from definitions, is learned from definitions of legal codes as favorable or unfavorable. So we learn our attitudes towards crime from the attitudes, whether favorable or definitions of crimes by criminal offenders. So some criminal offenders say that theft is not bad. So we learn this definition that is bad, that is good from criminal offenders. Stealing to help the poor, or committing a robbery just to help a poor or for survival purposes. So people tend to learn from criminals those kinds of definitions. And a person becomes delinquent because of an excess of definitions favorable to violation. So a person will become an offender if his attitudes are more in favor of committing a crime. Like for example, when I said earlier that a person that has who has a Robin Hood mentality. What is Robin Hood mentality? When a person thinks that committing a crime like theft is good because he commits theft to help the poor or to donate to the poor, to the needy. So that's an excess of definitions favorable to violation of the law. Then differential association may vary in frequency, duration, priority, and intensity. So we have different types of friends who are offenders, and they have different intensity or gravity or frequency and duration. For example, if I have parents who are criminals and I also have friends who are criminals, the influence of my parents to me to become a criminal offender is uh, is stronger compared to my friends who are offenders because they are distant persons in my intimate relationship continuum. So those who are nearer to me, more intimate to me, exert more influence because so that's why we call it a differential association because we differ. We have different association with criminal offenders, their numbers, intensity, or relationship with them. Next, the process of learning criminal behavior by association with criminal and anti-criminal patterns involves all the mechanisms that are involved in any other learning. So learning criminal behavior, according to Edwin Sutherland, is the same or similar to learning any other pro-social behavior. So the same learning process is involved in learning a crime plus versus learning in school, learning a theory, learning a book, learning how to read, the same learning process. That's according to Edwin Sutherland. And though criminal behavior is an explanation of general needs and values, it is not explained by them because non-criminal behavior is an expression of the same needs and values. What does it say? Edwin Sutherland just basically says that, for example, poverty, although crime can be an explanation of poverty, but poverty cannot explain crime. Why? Because poverty can also is also non, is also an expression of a non-criminal behavior like work. So you work because of poverty, and so offenders they commit crimes because of poverty. So we cannot use poverty according to Edwin Sutherland because it can also explain pro-social activities like work. He works because he is poor. So we cannot use poverty to explain crime. So he says that instead of poverty, instead of social forces affecting the individual, but the real cause, according to Edwin Sutherland, is not poverty or other social causes, because they also explain other pro-social behavior, but instead it's the learning process, learning our intimate relationship with criminal offenders. And this theory can be represented by this graphical representation that we have our dependent variable here, the crime, and we have independent variables here. There are three. First, learning of criminal skills and techniques from our intimate relationships, and excess of definitions favorable to crime. When we have that, for example, the Robin Hood mentality, when we are more in favor to the commission of crime. So, and if we are presented with the objective opportunity to commit crime, if there's opportunity to commit crime, if we have the skills, we have the techniques, we have the favorable definitions towards crime, and there's opportunity presented before us, according to Edwin Sutherland, then crime is likely more to happen in this instance. So that is differential association theory. The next theory is the drift or neutralization theory by Grissom Sykes and David Matza. What do they say? They say that much delinquency is based on what is essentially an unrecognized extension of defenses to crimes in the form of justifications for deviance that are seen as valid by the delinquent but not by the legal system or society at large. So what do they say? Basically, they say that offenders, they learn to justify their acts. They tend to reason out, they tend to rationalize their acts. Although the society sees the act as criminal, but the offenders will try to bend our perceptions about crimes, and will employ these justifications, these rationalizations or techniques. These techniques, there are five techniques of neutralization to neutralize guilt or to end guilt or to suppress guilt. So offenders feel guilty of their acts of committing crime, but they use these techniques of neutralization, and these techniques can amplify their offenses. They can commit again some crimes because they justify their prior crimes. So for example, a theft, a theft that has occurred, a theft of a motor vehicle or a motorcycle. So instead of the thief saying that, claiming responsibility, that I am responsible, I am the thief, so I am responsible for the act, he will deny the responsibility. This first technique, he will say that it was not my fault, it is the fault of the owner because he left the motorcycle on the side of the road, leaving the keys on the motorcycle and no guardians. He just left it for several days. It is his fault. It was his negligence that caused his motorcycle to be stolen. It's not my fault. It's the fault of the owner of the motorcycle. So that's denial of responsibility, not owning the responsibility. So that's blaming the victim. So that's denial of responsibility. Next is denial of injury. So the thief will say that, I stole the motorcycle, but this person is so rich. He has so motorcycle. He has so many motor vehicles. He is a corrupt person. He is a corrupt person. He has a lot of money. So there's no injury. So he has lost nothing. So that's denial of injury. That person is so rich. That bank is so rich. So they do not lose much money because 1 million is just too small. So I just stole 1 million, just a very small amount from them. Next, denial of the victim. He is not the victim. The owner of the motorcycle is not the victim. I'm the victim actually. I just stole. For example, I just stole the motorcycle because this person owes me money, a lot of money. He owes me 1 million, and the motorcycle is just 50,000. So I'm really the victim here. He is the real offender. So that's denial of the victim. Next, condemnation of condemners. Yes, I stole. So for example, the offender will say, yes, I stole the motorcycle, but you police officers are also corrupt. You, the judge, is also corrupt. Nobody is clean. Nobody is righteous. So you are condemning me, but you deserve also condemnation. So that's condemning the condemners. Next, appeal to higher authorities. I just stole the motorbike because I wanted to help the poor, the needy. I wanted to help. I wanted to donate the money to the church. So that's appeal to higher authorities, higher loyalties, such as generosity, justice, and so on and so forth. I just stole the bike because uh, I deserve justice. Because he owes me money. He stole a lot of money from me, millions of pesos. So I stole the motorbike. Appeal to higher authorities. Next, social control theory by Travis Hirschi. Travis Hirschi basically says that delinquency takes place when a person's bonds to society are weakened or broken, thus reducing personal stakes in conformity. So according to him is there are factors in the society that prevent a person from committing a crime, or that controls or informally controls the person from committing a crime. And the weakening of these controls, the informal controls, or the breaking of these informal controls, or the absence of these controls will unleash the person, or will unleash the person to commit a crime. So it can be depicted at this. So there are four independent variables here. So if the attachments to family and friends is weak, and the commitment is low to future or career, so he has no belief in the future, he has no belief in morality, justice, and law, he doesn't believe anymore with the law, he has unfavorable attitude with law, and poor involvement in school, in sports, and community. So weak attachment to friends, family, so he has no love with affection, with love and affection with the family, no friends, no future, no career, no belief in law. He doesn't believe anymore in morality, in justice, and he has poor involvement does not involve himself with school sports. So this poor involvement, so the person will likely resort to crime. Next is the labeling theory or social reaction theory. Labeling from the word label. So what we label, basically, Edwin Lermert and Howard Becker basically says that what we label a person will tend to affect that person, and he will tend to accept that label and identify himself with that label. So the social process of labeling someone as a criminal can lead that person to adopt a criminal identity and engage in criminal behavior. So for example, if we label a person as thief, that person will tend to internalize that label and will adopt that identity and commit more thefts. So for example, if we have caught a boy stealing and we label him as thief, so label him as thief, his deviance will be amplified. So it will be even if it was just a small theft of money, 10 pesos, but we label him as thief, kawatan, then he will tend to internalize that label that I am a kawatan, I am a thief. So he will commit other more or other thefts in the future. That is why this is the basis of our Juvenile Justice and Welfare Act in the Philippines. We replace the word offender. We do not call the children who committed crime as offender. We do not call them as criminal or prisoner or person deprived of liberties. We don't call them, we do not use these names, but we call them as children in conflict with the law. That is the term under the law that we should use to call these children who committed crimes. So that's it. Those are the social process theories in theories of crime causation. So thank you very much for watching this video. Have a good day and God bless you.